had people really question my decision to leave my job, so that she's gonna come back eventually. There were days that I felt like I'm on top of the world. You know what? I'm going to do this. But when the bills come and there's no money to pay, I'm like, I need a job. Hello, badass bosses. My name is Patty and I'm a badass marketing strategist. So in this video, I'm going to be answering 22 questions. Yes, 22 questions about how I quit my job, how I started my brand, and how I'm doing so far. So let's go right into the video. So first question, why did you leave? I left because I was tired. Or that's the truth. I left because I was tired. I was mentally exhausted. Financially, I had it up to here. Mentally, I had it up to here, and I needed to just leave. So yeah, that's why I left. So question number 2, at what point were you sure you were ready to leave? So let me give you a background of the story. So my work, I used to work in a marketing agency, and working in an agency basically means that you're working around the clock. There's nothing like a 9 to 5 or 8 to 5. You're literally working around the clock. You're moving from one project to the other because it's clients' demands, right? We used to work with multinational brands, so all these brands had things going on which we needed to pull together. So you're constantly on the clock, no breather. You literally work on weekdays and a lot of times on weekends as well. You don't get a lot of your weekends to yourself. So I was tired, like I said earlier, and I knew that I wanted to leave. I've been wanting to leave since national service. I knew that it wasn't for me. It wasn't something I truly wanted to do long term, right? So I had wanted to leave when I finished my national service, but I didn't have anything to go to. I was like, hey, so if I quit, how am I going to be taking care of myself? What business am I going to do? Because I didn't believe that I had an iota of entrepreneurship in me, right? So this was, I think, the third year after I started working there. I just knew that no, I can't keep doing this. I couldn't keep doing it. So I told myself that, okay, maybe it's fatigue. I'm exhausted. So in December, we usually had a 2 weeks break where, the celebrations and all of that. And then we come back in January. So I told myself that I was going to take the 2 weeks and rest. And then maybe when we come back in January, I'll feel better. But even during that break, I was still working, and I was so upset about working during the Christmas, the festivities. I walked into the office the day we resumed. I think that was 8th January or 7th January. The day when I walked into the office, I just knew it. I just knew that no, I can't continue doing this. I can't continue doing this to myself. I couldn't continue doing that to my bosses. So I'll get to that. I wasn't showing up on time. I was not pulling my weight. I was easily irritated. So there were certain things that were not supposed to upset me, but I was upset. So many things. I just said, you know what? This is it. This is the point. This is the point I know that I have to leave. What were some of the things you put in place before leaving? So the first thing I would say is I did not really put anything in place, because in this sense I was being forced out of it. Like it was my brain saying that you need to get out. So I didn't really put any measures in place, but my plan was, so I think 6 months prior to me quitting, I had found a passion project. I love fashion. So I was making clothes, sourcing fabrics and stuff for somebody to make for my clients. So that was my plan. That was my backup plan, that when I quit my job, I'm going to start making these clothes, right? So that was the only measure I put in place to quit. I think one of the measures I put in place was also not to leave on a bad note. So the first thing I did was to go to the person who brought me into the company, which was the CEO of the company, and I told her that, you know what, I'm going through it. Like, I'm going through a phase that I don't want to do this anymore. I don't even know what I want to do next. Even the fashion project, I want it to be on hold for 1 month and clear my head, and then I'll know where to pick up from there. And but I'm going to do a proper video talking about what measures you should put in place before you quit, because that's going to be a lengthy one. So I'm going to do a proper video on that, what to do before you quit, and then how to transition into entrepreneurship. What were some of the shocks? My first major shock was COVID. I quit in 2020. My last day was 28 February 2020. And I said, you know what? I'm tired of adulting. I'm tired of like all this. It's like life is going fast at you. You can't even stop to breathe. Like, everybody is moving, so you need to also move. So I said, this whole month of March, I'm taking a break from thinking. I'm like, I don't want to adult. Then in April, I'll kick off my fashion brand, Style Militi, which was, doing really well. People were getting interested in it. So I was like, okay, if I'm doing this even with as a side hustle, my 9 to 5 is there, and this is also then is bringing in some amount of money, then if I give it my all, I should be able to, make some good money out of it and still save people. So then I said, April, I'm kicking off with Style Militi, which was my fashion brand. Then COVID happened, and then the lockdown was initiated in March. So that was my biggest shock. Like, human beings didn't shock me. Nothing else shocked me like COVID, because now I was like, how am I going to take care of myself? How am I going to get money to take care of myself? Question number 5, how much money did you use to start the business you have now? So starting this business is not capital intensive. I can tell you for a fact that it's not capital intensive. I didn't have money. I didn't have any money saved when I was starting Party the Strategist. Now, the good thing about this thing I'm doing is that it's not capital intensive. I didn't have to set up an office and all of that. My home was there. So I was working from home. And it will surprise you that I had this table that I was using as my makeup, my dresser. That's what I moved into my living room, and I used as my office. I didn't even have money for a swivel chair, those office chairs. It took a while before I was able to buy that chair, which was about 450 cedis. Yes, so it's especially for what I'm doing now. It's something you can do with no money, and you can grow along the line. You can make money along the line and use it to equip yourself with all the things you need. So you don't need it. A lot of the subscriptions you use to run this business have free trials or free versions of what you need to use it for, right? So I decided to use Instagram as my main traffic source, and it's totally free to be on Instagram. What you need is data. I had a mobile phone. Even that, I lost my phone when I quit my job in I quit my job in February. In March, there was the lockdown. April, I said I was going to start working out because I had been indoors for so long and it was affecting me. And my phone was stolen. From April until July, I didn't have a phone, right? So I was shut out from the world. No access to Instagram. Yes, the only thing I had was this, my laptop. So I really love this baby of mine. So a friend of mine gave me this phone in July, which is what I used to start Party the Strategist. So when I started, she was like, wow, so all you needed was a phone. All this while, all you needed was a phone to kickstart. And I was like, yes. Through that time, I call it the incubation period. It was about 4 months. I used it to build myself. I used it to build my content. So when it was time to go, I just hit the ground running. When do you know it's time to stop? It's time to stop when, first of all, your brain or your mental health can no longer take it. There's nothing you can do about it. You know that you are not pulling your weight. You are not giving as much as you want to, right? you are trying your possible best to do, what you are being paid to do, but you just can't do it. And it's not like you don't know how to do it. You've been kicking ass for like how long you've been doing it. So why is it that now you can't even bring yourself to think of all these brilliant things you used to do? That's cue number one. Cue number two, if the things you used to enjoy in that work or that job start to piss you off or start to annoy you, it becomes draining. You need to know, you need to move, right? Or else now the tables are going to turn and they will have to fire you. Do you believe in going straight to corporate to build experience before a business? I believe 100% in that, because you get to understand the real running of a business, right? Because whoever is employing you is running a business. So you get to understand certain things, even teamwork, meeting your targets, meeting your deliverables. You learn a lot when you go into corporate before starting your business. So it takes off a certain load off your head, as opposed to right out of school you're going straight into entrepreneurship, unless you have the funds to invest in people who know these things that you don't already know. But I would always choose having corporate experience backed with your entrepreneurship. Question number 8, what lessons did you take from your corporate to your business? I learned so much. So first of all, right, I studied marketing in school, and I came to do right after school, even in school, after school, national service, I was working with this company. So first of all, this job taught me the practicality of marketing. In school, we are taught to learn and pass, but this, you you learn on the job, you learn new things. And I had the opportunity to be working with brand managers from all these multinational companies, the Nestle's, the Vodafones, the Guinness Ghana, all of those companies. So it gave me first-hand access to marketing, no cap. I also learned about structure, being able to put structure to your business. I learned how you need to pay your employees SNAIDs, their tier 2, health insurance. And then there are also things that my corporate job taught me that it was not direct learning. So for instance, managing people, right? How to manage clients' expectations, how to communicate when there's pressure, when there's friction. I learned attention to detail, because you are working as a team. If you don't pay attention to detail, and the previous person or the person whose work you are overseeing has made a mistake, you didn't pay attention to it, and it goes to the client, it's going to backfire to you. You are the account manager. So it's I learned a whole lot of things. I learned how to work under pressure. So yeah, my corporate job taught me a whole lot of things. I'm not gonna lie. What preparations does one need to make before quitting? I'm going to do a full-blown video on this for you, I beg you, but the most important thing is have money. You need to have money. You need to know where money is going to come from for the period that you are going to, be on a low. It's going to be a low season for you until you move into your peak season. So you need to have money. If you don't have money, you are frustrated. Question number 10, did you market your business before or after you left corporate? So here's the thing, right? I always say that God tricked me into leaving corporate, because I told myself that if I didn't have anything I was going back to, right, anything that would back me up, I wasn't going to leave, no matter how miserable I was feeling. I started a fashion brand, Style Mility, where I was making clothes for women. I like fashion, so, and I love sourcing for fabrics and stuff. So I had somebody who made the clothes. I did the sourcing, I did the designing. So the plan was that when I quit, that was what I was going to do full time. And the whole consultancy thing will start later on because I needed money, and I knew that building the consultancy was going to take time, build trust, it needed time before money could start coming in fully. So I was marketing style milk tea. I was marketing style milk tea, not as hard as I wanted to, because I had to be present for my corporate job as well. So I couldn't even do certain things that I wanted to do. But I had gathered a client base who were returning customers as well, who were constantly referring me. I got people who were sharing my stuff. So I knew that it was going to work. I had tested it. I knew that it was going to work. The only thing that stopped me from pursuing stability again was COVID. Because when COVID hit and then there was the lockdown, nobody was making clothes. Nobody's going for weddings anymore. So then I had to forcefully put it down and then pivot. So that was the point where I said, okay, my phone has been stolen. I don't have anything doing. I only have my laptop, and the things I have on my laptop were my lecture notes from uni. So I said, let me go back to reading my lecture notes. I was reading books around marketing, consumer behavior. I was reading case studies, and then I knew that I want to do this. I want to teach people how to do this. Question number 11, I think I've answered that. Did you leave to start any business, or this is exactly what you had in mind to start? No, I was postponing. So I'm going to even put a screenshot of a chat with a friend of mine, an old friend of mine, where I was telling him that I want to eventually consult for small businesses. I wanted to build strategies for small business, and he was like, oh, so you want to become a consultant? And I said, no, that's a huge word, but that's what I'm actually doing now. So it was not in my plan to do this, right? The light bulb moment came when I had already made the decision to leave. If your eureka moment had not come after the Niger's training, what business would you rather probably be doing now? So I think she's referring to Trisha business training. So when I am in preparation to quit my job, I wanted to, per my resignation, I was going to end at the end of January 2020. However, I was the key account manager for an ongoing project with Nido. So I was asked to stay an extra month. By then the project would have ended, and then there will be no issue of handing over certain things and all of that. So, but I had already signed up for Trisha business growth workshop, where I because I knew that I was going to pursue stability full time. I wanted to get more knowledge about running a business and all of that. So I said, okay. I paid. I paid for the workshop, and then the workshop was happening in February. But here's the case that I've been asked to stay till the end of February. So I took, I think, 1 week off to do all the assignments we're supposed to do before going for the workshop. Now, in the workshop, that was where I got my eureka moments, as she named it. When I saw Trisha Bays teaching all the things that she was teaching, like, wow, I know these things, but I didn't know that I could help small businesses. I knew that there's a possibility, but I was conditioned to believe that if you have a marketing background, it's either you are working with the multinational brands, the Unilevers, the Nestle's, the Vodafones, the MTNs, and I didn't have any connects to these places. So the next option is to start your agency, and starting an agency, first of all, is capital intensive, and you need a whole lot of relationships to be able to, get contracts. So these two were not any option for me. But when I saw this woman, she told her story about how she also quit her job, how she started this with no money at all. She was extremely broke, and about 20 people had paid to sit in this room to listen to her speak. When you go to her page, you see that she does it. She's bigger in Nigeria, so she has more numbers in Nigeria. And the same workshop had fed about 100 plus people. So I was like, okay. And she was moving city from city. And I said, okay, then it means that this would work. This is a very feasible thing for me to do. And I love explaining things to people. I love teaching. I love strategy. So why don't I also, infuse this into my life? So I was not going to do this immediately. I was going to do it after a while. If I didn't meet Trisha Biz and then get that eureka moment, I would still be pursuing my Style Mility, and I believe that it would have been a huge brand now. The pace at which that brand was growing, and then I had to pump the brakes. But I'm gonna go back. I have big plans for Style Mility. Where did your first client come from? So, it was not easy. It was not easy. I'm not going to make you feel like it was easy. It was a bed of roses. Nope. It was not easy. All right. So I did something. I launched my first product, my first one-on-one strategy session, which was called the 5 Days of Strategy. Now, when I launched 5 Days of Strategy, it was, I think, early bird price was 500 cedis, regular price was 600 cedis. And nobody signed up. Not even a single soul signed up. And yeah, people said it. I've got people tell me that, oh, this person said you couldn't do it. This person said nobody will sign up. And I said no. I knew why people had not signed up, because in this field, there are so many factors to these things. So I was not agitated. I knew it would work, but I just needed time. So I came up with a strategy. I said, you know what? I'm giving 2 free slots for 5 days of strategy. Come, fill the form, tell me why you want it, and I'll give it to you. And I think 6 people applied. And I said, I'm going to help these 6 people. I reached out to the 6. Only 5 actually picked their calls or returned the call. And then I told them, they were so excited on the phone, and then they started. So out of that, one person sent me a thank you package. It had pastries in it. So when I received the box of pastries, I was so excited about it. I was happy. So I posted a picture on it on my stories and tagged the vendor because her label was on it. And then she was like, oh, the lady who ordered for you spoke highly of you. I would want to do the 5 days of strategy. And she paid in full. She paid her 600 cedis in full. I was so excited. I think that was the money I used to buy my swivel chair. So that was my first ever client. So question number 14, did you feel burnout in the first few months of starting your business? Nope. I was actually on fire. No burnout at all, because here's the thing. So I'm going to give you a little advice. Enjoy the little beginnings. Enjoy the humble beginnings. Enjoy the low seasons, because that's the period that you have a lot of time on your hands. I can tell you for a fact that if you dedicate your time to this thing and you are consistent, the demand will come. And when the demand comes, you even have time for yourself. You have to put rest or allocate resting time in your calendar to be able to attend to everybody or to be able to serve everybody. So the first few months, no, I was not no burnout at all. I had so much energy. So I kept pumping that energy in my content, which is why now I can comfortably post maybe once every 3 days, because the previous consistency is still working for me now. All right, the demand will come, you'll be overwhelmed. A few weeks ago, after my boot camp, which is a 3-day boot camp for people in business, I was overwhelmed because I had a backlog of things to do, and I was saying that, hey, I'm so overwhelmed. And there was just this moment, I don't know if it was God speaking to me, saying that there were days that you prayed for clients. Why are you complaining now? And I was like, wow, that's true. What inspired me? My coach, Trisha Biz, inspired me. One advice I would give you is that if you see somebody doing what you want to do and making the money, you need to pay to get access to her. When I saw the woman speaking about how she quit her job, she was going through a lot and now she's doing this, I was like, I need access to this woman. So she had this course, Monetize Your Knowledge, which That's 2020 I couldn't pay for because I didn't have the money for it. So in February 2021, I saved specifically for that, and that was a turning point for me. So I paid to get her knowledge on how to build a coaching business, how to, sell all these digital products that I sell. So she inspired me to start. So it was just right that I go to her for the information that I needed in order to grow. Did you have money saved? Nope. And I think that was the silliest thing I did. That was so risky, very, very risky. Like I said previously, I was running away from the exhaustion. So at this point, I didn't even care if I had to pack my things when my rent is due and move back into my mother's house. So that I know that when I go there, there's food morning, afternoon, evening. So I was not going to starve. But I didn't have any money saved. The only money I had on me was my salary for the month of February. And even with that, I used half of it to pay for the business growth workshop by Trisha Bay. So I had that half money. I didn't have any money saved. It was good Samaritans who held me down until I was able to get back on my feet. Where were you working? I was working at Echo House Ghana Limited. Yeah. What was the final straw that made you write that resignation letter? The final straw was when I walked back into the office in January and I didn't feel welcome. And I know that it was also my fault because, like I said, I wasn't pulling my weight in so many things. So a lot of people would be upset with me. How did you identify that what you do now is your purpose? So it's that thing that I was doing for people even before I left my 9 to 5, right? So as part of my 9 to 5, I used to manage vendors for Tidal Rave. So Tidal Rave is a beach event. It's like a party. So we used to have vendors come sell, mostly food vendors. And I made friends with some of these vendors and they used to come to me for tips and stuff. And I used to do it for free for them. Honestly, I just knew it was my purpose when one of the days where I didn't have a phone during my incubation period, I was reflecting and it dawned on me that I never really chose marketing. I never really decided that I'm going to do business admin and I'm going to do marketing and I'm going to look for a marketing company to do my service or even my internship, and then when I'm done, I didn't have a plan. You know how a lot of parents have plans for their kids that I want you to do this course and I want you to do internship here, I want you to do your national service here and all of that. I didn't have that. I realized that everything was like connected, the dots connected, because I wanted to read law and I didn't get into tech. And they said that they were affiliated with Ghana Telecom University, which they had business courses. I started doing business. I had a taste of marketing. And then I said, I want to major in this. Then coincidentally, I wrote an article for Cool Peeps. And they liked it. That's why I started. So I did my internship with Cool Peeps. There was the Tidal Rave. That was the first time I was working with them. They assigned me to vendor management. I did it so well. So they realized that I'm good at project management. So that's how I got into the below the line activation bit of the marketing agency. And it moved on from there. I went into sales activations and all of that. And I did an awesome job at all of those things. So I was like, I love this. Now, I knew it was my purpose when I got to the point where I could do it without charging money. Like I can do it without taking money from you. I would say that if, let's say, somebody dashes me $1 million right now, or I become a millionaire right now, I'm basically going to do these things for free. I'm doing it because I need to pay my bills. My bills need to get done. But you know it's your purpose when, first of all, it brings you some feeling of peace. It gives you peace. And even when everything else is stressing you out, it brings you that relief. Like you do it to while away time, as opposed to it's work, so it's supposed to stress me. But the more you do it, the more it fills your cup. That's what this thing does for me. The more you do it, the more it fills your cup. That's how I knew that this is my purpose. I'm an introvert. I'm not a people's person. I really didn't like human interactions, but here I am doing the most of human interaction. So I think you would know how it makes you feel at the end of the day when you lay in your bed, not how it makes somebody feel, not what people are saying, but how do you feel about what you're doing when you get into bed. I'm happy. It makes me extremely happy that I helped somebody make a certain amount of money and they can afford to pay their kids' school fees. They can afford to buy a certain car they want. They can afford to go on a certain vacation, because those are the things I also want for myself. So helping people achieve those goals makes me know that I'm really working my purpose. The follow-up question to what I just answered was it related to anything you were doing back at Nestle? Did you have a backup? So I think a lot of people assume that I worked at Nestle. I wasn't an employee of Nestle, but they were our clients. So I was a key account manager for Nestle in my company. So I used to go there a lot for meetings. So when I posted in my Instagram stories that my last official meeting at Nestle wasn't my last day at Nestle as an employee, but as the account manager for Nestle. So no, I didn't work at Nestle. I worked at Echo House. Did you think this new venture was going to pay off? Yes, I knew for a fact that it was going to pay off. I just needed time. So after I saw Treasure Biz, I went to now do my research on coaching. It was really new to me. So I went to look for people who were in that space, and it was amazing the kind of life they were living. They were doing this solely. And you know, the Western people, the people in America, in Europe, in the UK, they are very vocal about their money, how they make their money, you know, their revenue and all of that. So I could see the numbers. Like, I mean, if you sell something for $10 and 1,000 people sign up, how much money do you have there? Do you get it? So I said, okay, it's going to work. I'm going to make money doing this. But then I just needed time. So one advice I'll give you is this kind of thing that I'm doing, or whatever business you are doing, it's a momentum you build, right? You start now, you build the momentum, and then you get to the peak. The longer you wait to start, the longer it will be for you to get to your peak. That's the thing, right? Unless there's a divine intervention, but you are dealing with humans, and it will take a lot for somebody to say that, okay, I'm going to trust you with my money. I'm going to believe that this thing that you're selling for me, you're not just being selfish, but you have my interests at heart. Was there a time you ever slightly regretted leaving, and how did you work through that? Okay, well, I didn't regret leaving that job, but there was a point where I started applying for jobs during the lockdown because I needed to eat. I needed to eat. I needed to pay my bills. And you know how life is. The fact that there's no income coming in doesn't mean that your expenses will pause and wait for you. My expenses were just going up, up, up. So I applied for jobs. I was called. I went for interviews. And the money they were offering, I'm like, nope, I'm coming back on my old job. One of the reasons I left my previous job was because of the finances. It was not that bad, but I wasn't seeing myself being able to buy a car, being able to build a house, you know, all those self-actualization stuff. I wasn't seeing it there. So if I'm going to be working with you, you're going to be paying me something that when I take out my rent, I take out my transportation, there's nothing to save, then I don't want to work there. So those are the only reasons I didn't get back into a 9-to-5. And I think it was also maybe God's way of not getting me to go back, because I had told myself that I'm never gonna go back into a 9-to-5. I can't. There's nothing, like, as I've tasted this life, there's no way you can tell me to go back to a 9-to-5, because I can create that money. I can create more than whatever they intend to pay me. I had someone, so the guy I was dating at that time was constantly encouraging me that, Charlie, it's not easy, but it's going to work. You can do this. You are good at this. Just give it time. So I had people who understood the vision, and they were the ones who kept me sane. Like, I had people really question my decision to leave my job. Like, people said that, well, she's not going to be able to pull it off. I'm sure people thought that she's going to come back eventually. There were days that I felt like I'm on top of the world. You know what? I'm going to do this. But when the bills come and there's no money to pay, I'm like, I need a job. But thankfully, it's been an amazing journey. The growth has been impeccable. Like, the things I've been able to achieve in the last 2 years, I don't think I would have been able to achieve that in 5 years if I was still working at 9 to 5, right? So, my dear, don't take chances on yourself. You are powerful. You are more powerful than you think you are. You're a creator. You're a co-creator. God created you to create. And you can create things that can make you wealthy. Not just in money, in people, in wisdom. All right, so that brings us to the end of our video. Let me know if you would want me to do the video on the steps or the measures to put in place before you quitting your job to start a business, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to film that. All right, so don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to turn on your notifications, and don't forget to share this with somebody you know who is struggling in their corporate job and they are looking for a sign to just quit. Okay, I'll see you in another video. Bye, badass bosses.